So top benefit of exogenous ketones for seniors, that's a great question. I'd probably say that the two biggest things would be the mental clarity and the impact on cognition. I guess that's kind of wrapped into one. But for seniors, I would say that's probably the greatest difference. We know that as we age, obviously, we're experiencing cognitive decline. And when we experience cognitive decline, it's not something that happens at one point in time. It's 5, 10, 15 years of accumulated time or stress that's starting to impair our cognition overall. And what happens when we see cognitive decline is that our brain has stopped being able to use glucose as a primary fuel source. But even though that is impaired, the brain can still use ketones as a fuel source. And so what happens when we can't use glucose as our fuel source is the brain downregulates, because it says, I'm not getting the fuel, so I'm going to downregulate function. So I stop asking for something I can't have. And so that's where we see the function of the brain begin to decline more and more because there's no fuel available. And then the interesting thing about that, though, is again, this happens before you see symptoms of cognitive decline. So somebody might say, well, my brain is fine, I don't have any memory issues, but you still want to provide that fuel source, because it's not like one day your brain uses glucose, the next day it doesn't. It's not an instantaneous thing. It's something that happens gradually. And so that glucose impairment has been happening for years. And it's been happening for years. So yes, absolutely, that would be an indication or a reason why they would want to add ketones in to provide that fuel source and try and optimize brain function.